Okay, great. So welcome everyone to the Frictionless Data Monthly Community Call. I know most of you, but I don't know all of you, so I'll just propose that we do a round of introductions. I'll start. I'm Sara Petti. I'm the community manager of Frictionless Data. I'm based in Bologna, Italy, and I'm really excited because today we're going to hear Joe and Risha here talk about the catalog prototype and all the new stuff that's developing at a lab. I propose that maybe Joan, you can go last so that we can directly jump into your presentation. And I'll pick Jonathan to go next.
Hello, good morning. My name is Jonathan Mitchell. I'm in Washington State. I'm a software developer for a company called Innovi Health. And I'm just interested in pushing more frictionless data into our processes, and that's why I'm here, want to be involved. So I'm happy to be here. Next, let's go with Keith.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Keith Hewitt. I'm a postdoc at NIH, although today I'm just here representing myself. But I have general interest in all things open data and just making it easier to work with data. And yeah, I think I'll stop there, and I will pass it on to, let's see, Dave.
Hey everybody, my name's Dave Viglaze. I'm in Maryland, the USA, and I come here, I'm just getting into frictionless data, getting an understanding of it, and our goal, and I manage a number of different software projects. The main one right now is related to gathering metadata about physical samples which are collected from the environment. So that's like, geology core samples or insects and trees, archaeological data, and so forth. And one of the big problems we have is on the ingest side. So people go out into the field, they collect data, and that content needs to be curated before it's ingested into our database systems. And one of the big challenges is that there's, the field data is very messy, and we're looking at the frictionless tools to help with the validation and streamlining that process. So that's their goal. I'll stop my video for bandwidth.
Would you like to pick someone else to introduce himself or herself, Dave?
Oh, sure. Let's go with Lily.
Thanks, Dave. I'm just writing down your name to follow up with you. I'm the product manager for Frictionless Data, and I start and will try to identify and start collaborations. So I might follow up with you, Dave. We can definitely help if your team needs some help implementing that validation. We'd love to help you. So I'm based in Austin, Texas, and yeah, I think that's it for me. I will pick. I'll pick Billy.
Yeah, so I realised. So Billy's my nickname. I just clocked that about halfway through. So my real name is Simon Tyrrell, and I work at the Early Institute in Norwich, in the UK, and we're all about crop data. And we started using frictionless data. My memory's a bit vague. 2 years ago, something like that. And it's officially the best thing since sliced bread. And we work with bread, so we can probably say that. Yeah. And who can I pick? Who hasn't gone yet? So my computer's going on and off. Aditya?
Yeah, I don't think that Aditya can actually speak because she's joined the call through a bot, but do you want me to pick someone for you?
Yeah, sorry, my thing was cutting out, so I don't know who's spoken yet.
Okay, yeah, sure. So Augusto has to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Augusto Hermann. I'm based in Brasilia, Brazil. I have worked with open data for more than a decade, and with frictionless data for a few years now. I work at the Ministry of Economy in Brazil, where we publish some open data in the Secretariat for Management. and use Frictionless for some of that. I am also a volunteer in a couple of projects in Open Knowledge Foundation, like dataportals.org and publicbodies.org. Yeah, and I'm going to choose and pass the word to Jochen Richter. Bitte.
As everyone introduced themselves, I don't think so. I will speak last since I will jump into my presentation after. So maybe I think Dan, I don't know if word got.
I'm Dan Fader. I'm in Philadelphia in the US. I'm a software developer with a company called Civic Actions and one of the developers of DCAN, which is a open data portal based on Drupal content management system. And I work mostly inside the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, sort of publishing data about the US healthcare system. And we're working on integrating some parts of the frictionless ecosystem into some of that work. And I think Kat is the last person.
Hi, I'm Kat. I'm based in Singapore. Hi, nice to meet everyone. I'm from the Open Data Charter. I'm a huge fan of open data and was here to just kind of, yeah, meet everyone and see what's happening. I'm not familiar with frictionless data, so I wanted to, yeah. Hello. Picking.
Cool.
I think
I'm, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm Johan Richer. I'm from France, so please bear with my bad accent. I'm here to talk about a new French product, which is called catalog.data.gov.fr, and which I'm the product owner of. But first, I want to do a quick introduction of myself. I'm a co-founder of a company called multi.coop. You can find the website. It was previously known as Jailbreak, and it's a small company specialized in open data and open source tooling. I've worked previously at Etalab, which is the French government agency dedicated to open data, and which is managing data.gov.fr, where the French equivalent of data.gov. Yeah, so I can share my screen first. Let me see. Yeah. So I've used Google Translate, so I hope you can it's more easier to understand because a lot of the content I will share is in French, and basically it's a new product currently in development, so I can't really show you since it's very early days of this development, but I will focus more on the parts of the investigation which I've done before the development. Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to to thank you for this invitation to present this product, and yeah, I've used the frictionless data tooling and specification for a while. I've previously used most notably table schemas, and I'm thankful for all that frictionless data is doing, and I can really testify that in open data project it's very useful. In France, we have a lot of table schemas produced by a lot of official administration, and it's very useful to as a framework to help data producers to produce really good quality data. And so yeah, that's why also I'm here today. And so without further ado, the data cataloging research I've done, I won't tell everything about it because I really want to have your own opinion about this. It's a lot related to data portals. It's a lot related to how users manage their own data catalog, which I will define. And it's a lot related to the tooling and the new workflows that have emerged in the last few years, actually, at least in France, but I think in a lot of places around the world too. And it tells, in my opinion, a lot about maybe the future of open data. I will share the main insights that I've gathered in the last few months during my research. So this research came into existing because in France, a lot of administrations have developed roadmaps of their open data policy. And in those roadmaps, the cataloging is the term used of the data has taken a big place. So it was this new kind of term in France has attracted a lot of attention of the central agency charged with the open data policies, which is the DINUM, the digital direction of the government. And EtaLab is a part of DINUM, the Open Data Agency. So they have asked me to do this research about data cataloging and to see how the administration could catalog their data in a more robust way. Obviously, in France, something that has to be told is that administration have the obligation to publish their open data since 2016. It's an obligation by law, but the reality is that a lot of data producers don't really know how to publish, and the open data by default law hasn't really happened in reality. And what I've gathered also is that there is a lot of challenges related not to the open data publication, the way to publish the data. The data portals like CCAN or open data portals that exist are really doing a great job on that. But the issues are more related to the problem of maintainability of the catalog and the traceability of the data sets in those catalogs. The people don't really know who is responsible for the data, and people don't really know where is the data coming from. And they have started to use tools, generic data management tools, to do this cataloging in a way that is really separated, distinct from the data publishing, which is done mostly on open data portals. And they use tools like Excel or Airtable to manage their catalog, what they call themselves open data catalog. And this process is kind of a duplication of the data publishing workflow that they have been doing for years before. And this tells me that there is kind of something that we can say about the paradigm of open data in the last 10 years, which I've called catalog versus portal. What I can tell, in my opinion, is that at the beginning, which Frictionless Data and the Open Knowledge Foundation has been a pioneer at the beginning. I can really say that this has been a great inspiration for myself, but a lot of projects, including in France with data.gov.fr, has been really inspired by this. At the beginning, the catalog was the portal, meaning that the portal was the purpose of the portal was to catalog the data and publish the data and store the data that was published. And this was a single process. And the data producers were also data publishers, and the same users that were gathering knowledge of the data in the organization were also the same ones that were publishing on the portal. But in more recent years, I've seen a lot of advice directed to these organizations to help them with this process that are becoming more complicated. In France, obligated by law, so a lot of new effort has been pushed to do this. Is that there was a need to have a catalog before portal, meaning that it was a prerequisite to the publication, meaning that it was like organizations don't really want to publish their data by default. They want to make sure that the data is clean before they put it in the portal. So we have first to map our open data or data catalog, and to make sure that it's good before we publish it. So it started a new workflow to gather data, some of which was not to be made in open. So it was more data management workflow that has started, and the data management systems that Open Knowledge and Datopian have talked a lot in more recent years. I've seen it also in France. So portals are not really designed for that, because portals are meant to store open data, and they are not really meant to gather information on data that is not yet published, or to gather information related to the people that are linked, or the organization, sub-organization related to one data set and not really the other. So dedicated tools have appeared, but generic tools like Airtable and Excel that I've talked earlier, that are more flexible to do this in a more specific way. But the problem is that this catalog workflow was completely separated from the the open data workflow. And as you can guess, those catalogs are done by different people from the open data portals in terms of management. And so it's become two efforts instead of one. So what I think is that we need to improve the tooling to make sure that there is a new workflow that is united between the two, and that the broken link between catalog and portal, including the tools and processes, are united again. So yeah, in France, at least, that's the insight I've gathered. And what we are working on is something that could improve the invisible part of the process, invisible from the open data users, obviously, but still keeping the data portals as they are. And since there are a lot of open data portal solutions, we have to make sure that this tool works in collaboration with the open data portals. And I'm sure that it would be something that can be linked to CCAN or other open data portals. And yeah, at least one example I can tell of a problem that I've seen in a lot of organizations is that when users want to find information about a data set from open data portals, most of the time they only have a way to post a comment or ask a question on the dataset page, and this sends the notifications to people in the portal, but most of the time it doesn't go to the person which is the data producer, the person who has the knowledge about the dataset. So it could be seen as a way to link the traceability, the data lineage that we can see also in other new tools that I've studied which are called data catalogs. Actually, maybe you are familiar with this kind of tools, which are more familiar to the people working in with cloud solutions and ETL solutions. This kind of a data stream integration kind of systems. The data lineage, I think, is a really important thing to really have in mind for the future of open data, in my opinion. Even though it won't probably not be automated like in the tools that you can see the list here, but in a more crowdsourced way, like in CCAN or other open data solutions. We have to make sure that the data sets are linked to the persons that are related to those data sets and the organizations and systems where the data sets are coming from. Because in a lot of places, the open data resource, the file published on open data, I've seen different states before being published in open data. Most of the time, it comes from a database or a business application of some kind, and then it extracted, and it can have different state before being published. And we have to make sure that this lineage can be traced from the beginning to the end. And this will ease a lot of data management, in my opinion. So yeah, this is the insights I wanted to share. I want to hear your thoughts about it. I can obviously answer your question about a lot of more information that I can share too, but I wanted to introduce this with some key insights first. Is there any question or something that I can clarify or expand upon?
I think you may have said this, but just to reiterate, how do you see the difference between data catalogs and data repositories?
Yeah, so in my opinion, data portals are data catalogs and repositories, meaning that they are meant to share a list of data sets, but also to store those data sets, meaning that a catalog is not necessarily the content of the data sets themselves. So, for example, the metadata is more in the scope of a catalog, and the data content is more in the scope of the portal. And you can separate the two. For example, in the French open data portal, which is data.gov.fr, actually it's more of a catalog, because a lot of the data sets that are in the catalog are not stored in this portal. They are stored outside, and they are actually harvested or linked to the original source. And the scope of our project here is more about the metadata and not really the content itself. That's why we call it a catalog.
Okay,
I hope that's clarified. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was helpful.
But like solutions like CCAN can do both. Obviously, they can help to store the data, meaning that it's a way it's a repository, but it's also a catalog, and it's also a portal to access both. But in my opinion, open data portals, even CCAN, which is in my opinion the most advanced in that regard, are not really don't really address some of the problems I've seen about like traceability and maintainability and way to be granular in the data management between users, producers, and the organization also.
I'm curious, like, how much of those problems that you're seeing, like some of it sounds like it's about difficulties more kind of documenting the provenance of data or the lineage of data. Is that just a limitation of metadata standards as opposed to the tooling?
That's a good question. Yeah, I haven't talked about the standards and the interoperability, but that's actually part of my my research. Obviously, yeah, in the open data paradigm, the standard is DCAT and DCAT AP for open data portals, and I've studied a lot of that during my research. Okay, so this is in France, but what I studied is mostly DCAT AP Inspire also, which is a European norm for geodata, which is very complex. And you have the data package specification from Frictionless Data, which is also a good way to catalog data in an interoperable way. What I've gathered is that DCAT AP is the most popular one. It's used by I think all data portals. But what is missing is yeah, some metadata about the traceability, like I've talked before, like the source database, the people that are contacts, that are responsible, or owners, or stewards. It's also a word that has appeared in more recent years. Data stewards, about they have a meaning. They have a role related to the producing of the data, and this kind of metadata to know who and where the data come from is not part of the DCAT AP or other specifications, metadata specification at the moment. So my opinion for this project that we are doing, the tool, we are still working on the implementation of this kind of that could address this kind of issues. But probably what we want to do is some kind of DCAT AP extension, which is the way that a lot of countries and projects have done this. So it would be a DCAT AP interoperable, meaning that we will have all the fields that are mandatory in the DCAT AP specification, but have some other fields to address the needs to have this new metadata to catalog the data in a more granular and traceable, maintainable way, which is the most challenge. Yeah, the primary challenges is about traceability, maintainability. Yeah, issues related to governance and IS, meaning information system. You could call it IT in English. Integration. Because if I, as a data users in an organization, if I don't have access to the data because it's stored, for example, in a database, and I don't have access to this database internally, I want to know who has access, so I can ask this person to extract the data. So yeah, if I don't have access to the data, I want to have access to the person who has access to this data.
Yeah.
Hi, Joanne. We had some time ago, I think a couple of years ago, started to try to build mapping between the DCAT2 and data package so that we could perhaps try to automatically convert from one to the other. I have put the link to the issue on the chat below. Perhaps in your research you have already done something like that, or maybe could help with this mapping.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of data package, so that's also something I want to make sure of, is that it's still mappable, and I'm aware of the initiative you are talking about, to map DCAT and data package. Yeah, it's doable. It's doable, and even an extension to DCAT like we want to do could still be mappable to data package. And yeah, Inspire, the Inspire norm is a bigger challenge because it's much more complex. But some of what I'm talking about is actually inspired by Inspire. Pardon the pun, because in Inspire you have a lot of metadata related to the contacts. For example, that's something that I've discovered is the word of geodata in France is really the best open data data sets that are existing in France are in the geodata world. And in part, thanks to Inspire. At the moment, you have a lot of company that can call an administration on the phone because this phone contact is published in the metadata of the dataset, and they can really get answer about the data because they have some person that they can contact. So that was also a good inspiration for this traceability metadata.
Yeah, in the US variant of DCAT, which I'm more familiar with, there is a mechanism for publishing data sets that are not accessible and documenting kind of why not and how to request access, but there isn't a way to sort of connect, like if you have if you're cataloging a private database and then publishing a data set, there isn't a standard way to say, well, this CSV came out of this private data set and here's the ETL process we used for it. So yeah, having a standardized way to document that link between the private resource and the public data set would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm sure I would love to have insight in that, because I'm sure that what I've learned in the last few months, a lot of people have been doing work on that in more internal project, maybe not standardized yet, but I think it's really the way to go, to have a more integration, a way to integrate more the data portals like CCAN and other cloud solutions like the ones I've learned about, like in France, Talend is a really popular cloud solution used in some administration, but solutions like Amundsen or the data hub from LinkedIn or Metacat from Netflix are really interesting in the way that they find ways to integrate and to share the metadata in the organization in an automated way, because in those organizations there is a lot of IT integration between systems. But I think we could do that also in organizations where there is the integration is really low, and still do it with crowdsource way or semi-automated way. Obviously, something that is asks a lot of human work is obviously less maintainable in the long term. That's why we want to make it automatic in the most possible way, but sometimes it's not yet possible. But we want to push. We have in our recommendations to the government, we have pushed to recommend that administration go to this kind of integration in a more robust way in the coming years. But we are still not there yet. And I don't know if open data portals are like CCAN. I've looked at that from that point of view at the moment. I'm really interested in that, actually, to learn about people working more from the open data portal point of view, and less from the users point of view, which I'm more, it's more my point of view at the moment.
Do we have other questions for John?
I have one, but it's hi.
Hi.
Oh, you guys see me? Yes. Okay. It's very basic, but I actually, so thank you, Johan. Merci for your presentation. Was wondering, and this is, so I'm very new to open data. I just started working during the pandemic in it, and we work more with governments in my capacity with the Open Data Charter. And I was wondering if catalog is actually a norm. Is it what's used by more of the technical data team? And I'm asking this because so I'm a comms person. I try to kind of marry the whole like technical aspect to what the public knows. And I think that is the difficulty sometimes. It's the whether language is interoperable, like how do we all kind of be on the same page? So I was wondering if catalog is what's normally used for the documentation side of an open data project. Yeah. And if it's like common among you all is more technical.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. The vocabulary used to document the data sets. In France, it's the same. It's mostly the comms services in an organization that is a task to open the data, meaning that are giving access accounts to the portals. So these people document and they create the metadata to document the data, and they do it themselves using their own vocabulary. And sometimes data are really specific. They are related to a knowledge of a subject that is really specific or businessy, and so the people that have this knowledge, this specific knowledge, are not the ones that are documenting the data in those kind of open data portal workflow. And this is why also to make sure that the separation between the data producer, meaning the people working at the source of the data, source of truth, are the ones also onboarded on the data management in the back office of the portal, is really, I think, a good solution, because also the data users, the people from the public going to the portal, also have specific understanding of the data, and they want to have answers that from their very specific knowledge, and only the people at the source can answer those kind of questions. So the comms side as an intermediary serves the purpose, is that this is a lot of work to document the data, but sometimes we lose signal in this process, in this intermediary process. But yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but the vocabulary and who is documenting what is a really important thing that is, I think, must be improved in the future of open data.
Thanks, Kat, for your question. Do we have anything else?
Yes, I have kind of a general question. How is DCAT different from Frictionless? Are they competing standards, or is there some overlap?
the data package specification is more specific. It's just a way to, in the language that is used, in the definition that I'm using, you have the data set is a data package. It's a group of resources, and resources are just files, meaning CSV file most of the time. So it's just a group of files, a data package, whereas DCAT is a way to have this group published in an open data way. So you have things like the more specific. It's more specific, the DCAT IP. But as we said before, you can map more or less the two, meaning for example, in the DCAT AP, you must provide an URL to the page where the file, the data set is published, whereas in the data package, it would be more of a path, not necessarily an URL, but it could be a relative path, and you have additional things in data package that you can provide. You can provide the schema if you want, some things that are more in the frictionless data way of doing things, let's say. And DCAT AP is more for the publishing. You have compatibility with schema.org, vocabulary, this kind of thing that you can do also with the data package. But I would say that data package is more generic. That's my way of explaining. I don't know if everybody would agree with that, but it's mostly compatible. Huh? Let's say that it's kind of the same thing. In the end, it's a way to help people. It's a way to actually to document. It's a way to create metadata. I think it's the most important thing to remember here. It's just a way to provide a name, a description, a license. This kind of thing you can find both in both specifications.
Okay, thanks.
We still have time for one question if anyone has anything. Okay, well, if not, thanks, John, for the presentation. This was very, very interesting. For those of you that came a bit late, we're going to put the recording also on the blog. So in case you missed some pieces of it, you can find them later on. The blog will probably be published next week. Other things we wanted to talk about is, so the next community call is going to be on the 28th of April. And it's going to be a very exciting one because we're going to have Anneli Steele, who's a former Frictionless fellow, who's going to present basically open science practices from the Turing Way, where she's working now. Also, other thing that I wanted to share is that we're moving our community chat from Discord to Slack. Probably you've all moved already, but in case you didn't, you will find a link to it in the agenda doc that I can share once again, actually, in case not all of you have it. And yeah, let us know also in this agenda doc if there's anything else you would like to talk about next time. I don't know if Lily, you have anything that you want to add?
Just one more comment about the Slack and Discord, that if you are using Matrix instead, you will still be able to use Matrix. I think it's set up now. Maybe Sarah, can you give the details of that?
No, so we are trying to set up the bridge. It's more complicated than we thought. We're running a test at the moment, which seems to be successful, but we haven't opened the channel, the bridge yet. Augusto, I might ping you because I know that you're the Matrix bridge expert here. But I'm hoping that that will be available as of next week.
Yeah, I'm in touch with Edgar, and I offered help if he needs any. But I think he is setting it up. It should be done sometime soon. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too. And yeah, I think that's it from us. Any other comment from anyone or anything you would like to share?
Thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It was really interesting.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great talk.
Well done.
Yeah.
Merci beaucoup pour ta présentation, Johan.
Merci,
Johan.
Augusto.
Are you in the Slack, Johan?
Yeah, I'm on Slack, and you can. I've posted my email address if you want to send me an email. I'd be really happy to be challenged in that presentation and to answer questions or discuss, especially with regard to the CCAN, because I think it's the future of open data also lies within the CCAN and Frictionless Data and Open Knowledge Foundation community. And I know CCAN has evolved a lot in the recent years, and I'm really curious in the direction is going in the future.
Thanks. And thanks all for taking the time to come to this call today. I hope to see you all next month.
See you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Thanks.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.